At my brother's wedding, I caught my husband and sister-in-law in the middle of an affair. I looked at the groom, and he just winked at me. "Don't worry," he said, "the main event is about to begin." Okay, listen up, because I'm about to tell you something absolutely wild. Can you even imagine walking into your own brother's wedding, a day that should be pure joy, only to find your husband wrapped around the bride, kissing her? But here's the kicker, the moment that made my blood run cold and my entire world spin. My brother, the groom, just winked at me and whispered, "Don't worry, Chloe. The main event is about to begin." What the hell happened next? You are not going to believe it. It all started on what was supposed to be the most beautiful day for my brother Liam. The Plaza Hotel in New York City was stunning, adorned with white silk and sparkling crystals. It looked like a fairy tale, a dream. Liam, my older brother by 5 years, was my rock. After our parents passed away too young, he became everything to me, a father figure, a best friend, my whole world. Seeing him so happy, about to marry Sophia, who seemed sweet and beautiful, made my heart ache with a kind of hopeful warmth. I truly thought our small family was finally complete. Standing beside me, my husband, Ethan, had his arm around my waist. He was an architect, brilliant and, to me and everyone else, absolutely perfect. We'd been married 5 years, a marriage people envied. He always gentle, always attentive, my unwavering support. He squeezed my hand, whispering, "Your brother looks amazing, and Sophia looks like a dream. They're a match made in heaven." I leaned my head on his shoulder, feeling that familiar, comforting calm. Yes, I smiled, I hope they'll be as happy as we are. I genuinely believed I was the luckiest woman alive, living in this rose-colored bubble. But that bubble was about to burst, and I'd be the one to pop it. The ceremony was minutes away. I realized Ethan had disappeared for a while. I wanted a picture, so I went looking for him. I thought he might be taking a call, so I wandered down a quiet hallway to a small balcony overlooking the garden. As I got closer, I heard whispers. And then, a giggle. A laugh I knew instantly. My heart started hammering. Through the narrow crack of the open glass door, I saw a scene that froze the air in my lungs. It was Ethan. And the woman in his arms, the one he was kissing so passionately? Sophia, my future sister-in-law. Still in her immaculate wedding dress, which now just looked disgusting, hypocritical. Time stopped. My ears went deaf, all sound replaced by the terrifying, shattering sound of my own heart breaking. I leaned against the cold wall, fighting to stay standing. A lump rose in my throat, then a wave of nausea. Then their voices cut through the fog. "You're very bold, babe." "Meeting here at this hour," Sophia purred, her hands still wrapped around Ethan's neck. Ethan scoffed, a laugh I'd never heard from him, full of arrogance, contempt. "What are you afraid of?" "No one would ever imagine. Look at that stupid family of hers, busy running around like puppets. And her brother? That Liam, he's just a lovesick fool. We have everything under control." Stupid family, that was me. Lovesick fool, that was Liam. My fists clenched so tight my nails dug into my flesh, but I felt nothing. Nothing but pure, visceral disgust. Sophia, still nervous, continued, "What if everything is discovered later? Besides, I don't like the idea of living with you and your wife." Ethan laughed again, this time pure venom. "You don't have to be jealous of that kid. I married her only for the status of being the daughter of a well-respected family, to fool the world. She's nothing more than a baby machine, my shield. As soon as she gives me a son, I'll find a way to get rid of her. Soon, all of Liam's fortune will be ours. And then you can have whatever you want, my love." My love. Those 2 words hit me like a lightning bolt, tearing through the last shred of my sanity. 5 years of love, of trust, shattered in an instant. My world, my beliefs, everything was dust. I turned, walking like an automaton, tears streaming, but silent. I was too numb, too disgusted to even cry out loud. I stumbled, bumping into someone. I looked up through blurred vision. It was Liam. My brother, the groom. He saw my face, his handsome brow furrowing. "Chloe, what's wrong? Did something happen?" I couldn't hold it in. I threw my arms around him, dissolving into gut-wrenching sobs. Between choked gasps, I told him everything. I expected him to explode, to race to that balcony, smash everything, call off the wedding. But he just listened silent, his large hand gently patting my back. When I finally stopped, he pushed me back gently, looking me straight in the eye. No surprise, no rage. Just a terrifying, glacial calm. He wiped my tears, then gave me a quick, meaningful wink, a silent language only we shared. And then he whispered words I will never forget. "Don't worry, Chloe. The main event is about to begin." Liam's words were a thunderbolt, leaving me completely stunned. The main event? My brother, my beloved Liam, betrayed on his wedding day, and my husband, involved in all of it. How could he be so calm? My mind was pure chaos. I thought he'd lost it, that the shock had broken him. Seeing me dazed, Liam said no more. He just took my hand, his grip firm, and led me to the groom's waiting room. He glanced around cautiously, made sure no one was watching, pushed me inside, and locked the door. The room was festive, ribbons and balloons, but the air was thick, suffocating. Chloe, listen to me carefully. Liam's voice was no longer calm. It was that serious, cold determination I only saw when he was making huge business decisions. I've known about all this for a long time. For a long time, I froze. How? He sighed, pulling a chair for me. 3 months ago, he began. I started noticing things. Sophia, she was too interested in the company's financials, asking about projects, details a fiancé wouldn't normally care about. And Ethan, he and Sophia had this abnormal familiarity, subtle glances, small gestures. Things only someone looking for them would catch. A knot tightened in my chest. While I was blind with happiness, my brother had been silently tracking these dangerous currents. I had a bad feeling, he continued. So I hired a private investigator. And what they uncovered was far, far worse than just infidelity, Chloe. It was a meticulously calculated conspiracy. Liam pulled out his phone, showing me photos, documents. Ethan and Sophia on secret dates, bank statements showing huge transfers to Sophia from an unknown account. And then, the worst, a detailed plan from Ethan's emails. Phase 1, Sophia seduces Liam, marries him, gets into the family. At the same time, Ethan, as my trusted husband, would leak company secrets. Their endgame? After the wedding, Sophia would convince Liam to give Ethan control of major projects. Then they'd embezzle funds, create ghost debts, and bankrupt the company, the legacy our parents left us, taking everything for themselves. My blood ran cold. 5 years of marriage, all my love, just a move in their twisted game. Ethan didn't love me. He used me. A pawn, a tool for their dirty work. My romantic betrayal morphed into a deep, burning hatred. They hadn't just trampled on my feelings, they tried to destroy our parents' life's work. Then why? I asked, my voice trembling, looking up at him. Why did you go through with the wedding, knowing all of this? Liam's eyes glinted sharply. If I'd broken off the engagement, we would have only caught 2 small fish, Ethan and Sophia. The real puppet master, pulling the strings from the shadows, would have vanished. And we didn't have enough evidence to expose their entire conspiracy. My brother had decided to turn the wedding into a trap, a grand stage for their downfall. He squeezed my hand. I have everything prepared, Chloe. All our important assets are in a secure trust. The projects they want are just shell projects, no real value. And I've installed recorders and cameras everywhere. We just have to wait for them to expose themselves. I stared at him, a mix of pity and fierce admiration swelling in my chest. He'd endured all this alone, planning, counterattacking, while I was lost in my false, happy world. Now I need you. Liam's voice grew even more serious. Your appearance, the fact that you discovered the truth at this moment, it's a variable they didn't expect. But it will be our ace in the hole. Ethan and Sophia will only see you as a poor, heartbroken wife. They'll never suspect you. Right now, keep playing that role. Keep crying. Pretend to be devastated. The more miserable you appear, the better. Can you do it? I wiped my tears. The pain still burned, but it was transforming into pure, focused hatred. Liam was right. This wasn't the time to be weak. I wasn't just crying for my betrayal. I had to fight for justice for our entire family. I can do it. My voice was much, much firmer. Just then, a knock. Mr. Miller, it's time for the ceremony. The wedding planner. Liam stood, adjusted his bow tie. He looked at me, a confident smile on his face. All right, little sis. Let's go. The show is about to begin. Remember, you are not alone. Your brother is here. He opened the door. We walked out together. In the main hall, Ethan and Sophia were chatting arm in arm, looking so disgustingly cheerful. Ethan immediately approached me, his usual concerned expression plastered on his face. Chloe, where have you been? I've been looking all over. I just looked up, my eyes still swollen, shook my head, and moved closer to Liam. Ethan looked a bit puzzled, but probably just thought I was exhausted. The music swelled. The MC boomed, and now let's give a warm welcome to today's stars. The groom, Mr. Liam Miller, and the bride, Miss Sophia Reed. Lights focused on them. Admiration filled every gaze. As Liam took Sophia's hand, that woman who almost became my sister-in-law, to enter the hall, I smiled. It was probably the most perfect lie of my life. But it was also the smile that promised a coming storm. Under the dazzling lights, Liam and Sophia looked like the perfect couple. Liam still had that happy smile. I knew it was part of his flawless performance. Sophia played the shy, sweet bride, casting loving glances. She was an exceptional actress. They walked down the aisle, covered in white roses, to thunderous applause. I sat in the front row, with Ethan beside me. His arm was still around my shoulders, whispering sweet nothings. Aren't they beautiful? I hope we'll celebrate such a grand anniversary too. I just leaned on him, feigning intoxication by the romance. But inside, I was fighting to suppress the bile rising in my throat. Every word, every touch was repulsive. His hand on my shoulder, the same hand that had just embraced her. The ceremony moved along. The MC's syrupy voice praised their predestined love. I almost laughed. Destiny? Yes, a destiny woven with conspiracy and calculation. After the empty speeches, the ring exchange. An adorable flower girl brought the rings. Liam and Sophia faced each other, ready to exchange their symbols of love. Then, one moment, a voice from the audience shattered the sacred silence. The entire hall gasped, eyes swiveling. It was a middle-aged woman, elegant, but her face etched with anger and pain. Beside her, an older man. Sophia flinched, her face draining of color. Liam, though, remained perfectly calm. He'd anticipated this. Excuse me, who are you? What's going on? The MC scrambled. The woman ignored him, marching straight onto the stage, stopping before Sophia. Sophia, do you recognize me? Her voice was a raw mix of anger and disappointment. Sophia took a step back, ghost white. Ma'am, how are you here? Why shouldn't I be? The woman scoffed bitterly. I came to see how my future daughter-in-law, the one who swore eternal love to my son, is about to become another man's wife. I came for justice for my son. A murmur rippled through the guests. Asterisk future daughter-in-law? Son, asterisk what was happening? Ethan, beside me, was just as surprised. What's going on, Chloe? Who is that woman? I just shook my head, feigning equal confusion. The woman turned to the crowd, raising her voice. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry to interrupt this happy day, but I have to tell you. This young lady, Sophia, was my son's fiancée. They were in love for 5 years, engaged, waiting for their wedding date. But in just a few months, she changed her mind, left him for a richer man, leaving my son utterly heartbroken. She pulled a stack of photos from her purse, throwing them onto the stage. Photos of Sophia with another man, affectionate poses, even pictures from their engagement party, scattered across the floor. A collective gasp. All eyes turned to Sophia, no longer with admiration, but with curiosity, doubt, reproach. Sophia stood frozen, ashen. She stammered, "No, it's not like that. That person and we broke up a long time ago." Broke up? The woman scoffed again. How shameless. You lie. Just 3 months ago, you took money from my son for shopping and investments. You deceived and used him. How can you betray him like this? Sophia was speechless, looking at Liam with pleading eyes. But my brother, the groom who should have been furious, just crossed his arms, staring at her with an unnerving coldness. I, sitting there, watched the first act unfold in silence. I knew this was Liam's doing. He'd found Sophia's abandoned ex-fiancé, invited his mother here, ready to rip off Sophia's mask of innocence. Seeing the situation spiral, Sophia suddenly clutched her chest, staggering, then collapsed, faking a faint. "Oh my God, the bride has fainted," people shouted. Sophia's family, hired actors I now realized, rushed the stage, creating a chaotic scene. Amidst it all, Liam calmly walked over, looking down at the fainted Sophia. No concern, just a faint, chilling smile. He took the mic from the stunned MC. "Ladies and gentlemen," his voice resonated, firm and clear, silencing the chaos. "I apologize for showing you such an unpleasant play, but I believe the truth must always come to light." He glanced at Sophia, who was subtly peeking at the crowd's reaction. "You act very well, Miss Reed, but I think it's time to end this farce." His words were a bucket of ice water. Sophia startled, closing her eyes quickly, but it was too late. Everyone had seen her. And to make this play even more interesting, Liam continued, "I'd like to invite another special guest to the stage. Someone who is very closely related to the charade." He looked directly at where Ethan and I sat. My heart hammered. Our turn. The stage lights swung, blindingly, onto Ethan and me. We were now the center of attention, hundreds of curious, surprised eyes fixed on us. Ethan was stunned, clueless. He turned to me, whispering confusedly, "Who is your brother calling? A special guest?" I didn't answer, just looked at him with tear-filled eyes, an innocent, helpless expression. My turn to act. On stage, Liam raised his voice, addressing Ethan directly. "The person I want to invite is none other than my brother-in-law, the architect Ethan Thompson. Could you please come up here and share in this joy with us?" This sudden invitation caused an even greater stir. Why would the groom call his brother-in-law to the stage at this delicate moment? Ethan was paralyzed. He looked at me, then at the stage, his face paling. He probably knew something was terribly wrong, but with a public invitation and hundreds of eyes on him, he couldn't refuse. "Go on up, honey," I said softly, giving him a gentle push. My tone innocent, I added, "Maybe Liam wants you to share the secret of a happy marriage?" My words were like a tiny pinprick, but enough to make Ethan flinch. He swallowed hard, forced a smile, and slowly rose, walking towards the stage. Each step seemed to weigh a ton. When Ethan reached the stage, Liam slung an arm around his shoulders, affectionately. "Ladies and gentlemen, don't you think my brother-in-law is handsome and talented? I'm very proud to have a brother-in-law like him. Not only is he a talented architect, but also a wonderful husband who deeply loves my sister." Liam's praise confused Ethan further. He just smiled awkwardly, speechless. "And perhaps," Liam continued, his voice suddenly dripping with meaning, "he's so perfect that not only my sister loves him, but other women love him, too. Isn't that right, my dear bride?" Liam turned to Sophia, who was still on the floor, pretending unconsciousness. But I saw her eyelids tremble. Ethan's face was now sheet white. He broke into a cold sweat, trying to wriggle out of Liam's arm. "Brother-in-law, what are you saying? Everyone is misunderstanding things." "Misunderstanding?" Liam laughed, a cold, hollow sound. "Well, let me show everyone what the misunderstanding is." He signaled to the technical crew. The two enormous LED screens flanking the stage, which had been showing romantic photos, went dark. Then they flickered back to life. But this time, it wasn't roses. It was a video, recorded from a hidden angle on the balcony. The entire hall gasped. The same scene I'd witnessed just an hour ago unfolded vividly for hundreds of people. Ethan, my husband, passionately embracing and kissing Sophia, the bride, in her wedding dress. The audio was crystal clear. Every disgusting word echoed through the hall. That stupid family of hers, busy running around like puppets, and that Liam, he's just a lovesick fool. I married her only to fool the world. She's nothing more than a baby machine. The ballroom erupted. Shouts, insults, looks of utter contempt rained down on the two figures on stage. The most sordid drama of adultery and betrayal, projected for all to see. Sophia couldn't keep up her feigned act. She jumped up, pale and trembling. Ethan could barely stand, staggering back, pointing at the screen. "No, it's not true. It's edited. It's fake." But his weak words were drowned out by the crowd's fury. "Trash. What a pair of cheaters. I can't believe it." Sophia's fake family stood frozen, red with shame, useless. And I was still in the front row. The tears started again, this time real. Tears of pain, reliving that horrific scene, hearing those poisonous words again, in front of so many people. I covered my face, my shoulders shaking, portraying the image of a miserable victim, a wife utterly shattered. On stage, Liam looked at me, a flicker of compassion in his eyes, quickly replaced by cold determination. He snatched the microphone from the MC. "Ladies and gentlemen," he thundered, his voice an invisible force that silenced the chaotic hall. "Have you all seen it? This is the true face of the woman I was about to marry, and the man I once considered my brother-in-law, part of my family." He turned to Ethan and Sophia, his gaze like two knives. "Do you two have anything else to say? Or do you want me to show you something even more interesting?" Ethan and Sophia, desperate, could only shake their heads. They were cornered. "But all of this," Liam continued, his voice becoming chillingly mysterious, "doesn't end here. This drama of infidelity is actually just the tip of a much larger iceberg." The hall fell silent again. What did the groom mean? Liam pulled a stack of documents from his tuxedo pocket, holding it up. What they really wanted wasn't love, but this? What was in that stack? What connection did it have to the puppet master my brother had spoken of? All eyes were fixed on those papers, waiting for an even more terrible truth. That stack of documents in Liam's hand was like a silent bomb, drawing every eye, every breath. Even Ethan and Sophia, utterly defeated, looked up, terror now replacing despair in their eyes. They knew, better than anyone, what those papers contained. "Before I tell you what this is," Liam said, his voice slow and deliberate, "I'd like to tell you a little story. The story of a cunning old fox who used two skunks to rob a hen house." He scanned the room, his gaze piercing into the VIP section. I saw a stout-faced, elegantly dressed man, Mr. Caldwell, tense up, cough, and adjust his tie. The fox, Liam continued, knew the hen house was very well protected, so he didn't dare act on his own. That's why he found two skunks, a male and a female. He promised them a life of abundance, food, and warm clothing. They just had to help him carry out a plan. The female skunk's mission was to seduce the head rooster, the future owner of the hen house. The male skunk's mission was to court the head rooster's sister, a naive hen, to become part of the family. At that, my tears were no longer an act. They flowed for real. My brother's metaphorical story was another knife, twisting in my wound. I was that naive hen. Their ultimate goal, Liam's voice grew colder, was after gaining their trust, to slowly open the doors and break the fences so that the old fox from outside could quietly come in and take over the entire hen house. Isn't that a perfect plan? He looked directly at Ethan and Sophia. "You two skunks. Does this story sound familiar?" Ethan and Sophia could only hang their heads in shame. And this, Liam raised the stack of documents, is the detailed plan, the map the old fox drew for the two skunks. The map that tells them which path to take and where to break the fence. This is the complete plan to take over the Miller Corporation. Our parents' life's work. He began flipping through the documents, their contents projected onto the giant screen. Figures, charts, dirty business strategies. Their plan wasn't just to embezzle, it included creating false scandals, undermining Liam's credibility, sowing internal discord to bankrupt our company, allowing a rival to acquire Miller Corporation at a bargain price. And the name of that rival company was there, in plain sight, Aurelian Holdings. A murmur again. Aurelian Holdings was a known entity, an aggressive, rapidly rising force. And the man in the gray suit who'd looked so uncomfortable? He was Mr. Caldwell, CEO of Aurelian Holdings. Now, all eyes were on him. Mr. Caldwell went pale, but tried to hold it together. He stood, straightened his clothes, and tried to leave. Mr. Caldwell, where are you going in such a hurry? Liam's voice was an invisible rope, binding him. The best part is yet to come. You wouldn't want to miss it. Caldwell turned, forcing an awkward business smile. CEO Miller, I believe there's a misunderstanding. I have nothing to do with your company's internal affairs. Nothing to do? Liam laughed, utterly devoid of warmth. Then how do you explain your secret meetings with these two people? And the money you sent Miss Reed so she could pose as a rich girl? And the promise of a project director position to Mr. Thompson, if everything went well. Each question was a heavy blow, making Caldwell visibly wilt. I knew Liam wasn't just talking. He had the evidence. Just then, two plainclothes men, clearly detectives, approached Mr. Caldwell's table. They said nothing, just stared with solemn intensity. Caldwell's escape routes were blocked. He collapsed into his chair, forehead drenched in sweat. His carefully constructed play was ending. The old fox was cornered. I watched it all, no longer consumed by personal pain, but by a cold fury at the vileness of the business world. For profit, they'd trample on love, family, human decency. Ethan, the man I loved madly, was just a pawn, selling his soul for a hollow promise. He looked at me no longer shameless, but with an empty, desperate despair. He'd lost everything, love, honor, his future. On stage, Liam, having exposed the entire conspiracy, turned to me. He walked down, offering his hand. I took it, and we ascended the stage together. He took the mic, his voice no longer sharp, but softened with a touch of compassion. Ladies and gentlemen, the person most hurt in this story is not me, but my sister, Chloe. This girl has had to endure the deceit and betrayal of the man she loved deeply. She is completely innocent. He looked at me, his eyes full of love. Chloe, I'm sorry. I'm sorry you had to go through this. I should have realized sooner. I should have protected you better. I just shook my head, tears welling again, this time, tears of emotion and gratitude. Today's wedding, Liam continued, will have no bride. But the party will go on. I hope all our distinguished guests will stay and consider this a party to celebrate the truth. The hall erupted in applause. Not for a wedding, but for courage, for justice served. Just as I thought it was over, a sharp scream ripped through the air. Sophia. She leaped up from the floor, tore a sharp hairpin from her elaborate hairdo, and with a crazed look, lunged at me. It's all your fault. It's all your fault. Sophia's attack was so sudden, so fast, it stunned everyone. The hairpin, glinting under the lights, flew towards me like a poisoned arrow. I froze, my mind blank, realizing the danger but unable to react. Liam, beside me, had no time either. When the tip of that pin was inches from my face, a shadow shot out from behind me, like a lightning bolt. It was Ethan. He threw his whole body in front of me. The sharp tip grazed his shoulder, leaving a stark red stain on his white shirt. Ethan cried out in pain, staggering back. Sophia seemed shocked by her own action, by Ethan's unexpected intervention. She dropped the hairpin, standing there, stunned, face pale. That's when hotel security rushed in, restraining her and leading her away. The hall plunged into chaos again. Liam rushed to Ethan. Are you okay? Ethan, face contorted in pain, shook his head. He didn't look at Liam, but at me. His gaze was a jumble of regret, pain, and, somehow, a strange relief. Chloe, are you okay? I looked at the blood on his shoulder, my heart a tumultuous mix of emotions. Why? Why had he done it? How could the man who had deceived and used me risk his life to protect me? Or was this another act? A desperate bid for my last shred of compassion? Take him to the first aid room immediately. Liam ordered the hotel staff. As Ethan was led away, the two plainclothes detectives escorted Mr. Caldwell out. The CEO of Aurelian Holdings no longer looked imposing. He was just a defeated old man, walking with his head down amidst the accusations and contempt of the crowd. The wedding farce was finally over. Liam took the mic again, trying to calm the guests. Ladies and gentlemen, again, I apologize for the unexpected incident. Our party will have to end here. On behalf of my family, I sincerely thank you all for your attendance. The guests began to leave, one by one, carrying with them an unforgettable story. What had been a splendid wedding hall now looked desolate, cold, like a ruin. Liam and I stood silently in the empty space. Extreme exhaustion washed over us. "It's all over, Chloe," Liam said, patting my shoulder. I nodded, but a huge question still lingered. "Brother, how did you know everything?" "The company acquisition plan, Mr. Caldwell's role, how?" Liam looked at me, a sad smile touching his lips. "Because I wasn't the only one who wanted to unmask him. My brother told me another story, one hidden for years. Before he passed away, our father had been a close friend and business partner of Mr. Caldwell. Together, they laid the groundwork for both their companies. But it was that same Mr. Caldwell who, with dirty tricks, cheated our father out of all his shares and drove him to bankruptcy. That blow shattered our father, his health deteriorated, and he passed away soon after. I always had my doubts about our father's death." Liam's voice grew grave. "After inheriting the company, I started investigating secretly and gradually found evidence of his crimes. But he was cunning, he covered his tracks. I never had enough proof to bring him down. Until Sophia appeared." My brother continued. "At first, I was also deceived by her innocent appearance. But then I noticed too many coincidences. She'd casually mentioned projects where Aurelian Holdings was competing with us. So I had her investigated and discovered her connection to Mr. Caldwell. I realized he was trying to repeat the same script with me as he did with our father. And I decided this was my chance to avenge him." A lump formed in my throat. Behind our company's success, Liam had carried such a heavy burden of revenge. He'd lived a lie, acted with the woman he was about to marry, just waiting for the day he could bring down his enemy. "So everything was in your plan? Most of it?" I asked. "Yes," Liam nodded. "Except for one thing. I didn't know your husband was also part of his plan. And much less that you would be the trigger for all of this. Your appearance, your courage, you were the unexpected variable, the decisive blow that made him fall without time to react." My brother looked at me with pride. "My little sister, you've really grown up." I managed a teary smile. "We had one. Together. As siblings." Shortly after, a hotel employee informed us Ethan had received first aid. The wound wasn't deep, but he needed a tetanus shot and a hospital checkup. He asked to speak to me alone. I hesitated, then nodded. I needed to know if any sincerity remained in him. I entered the first aid room. Ethan sat on a cot, shoulder bandaged, disheveled, his expensive suit wrinkled, shirt stained with blood. He looked utterly drained. He looked up, his gaze riddled with guilt. I'm sorry, Chloe. What good is an apology now?" I asked coldly. "I don't expect you to forgive me," he said, lowering his head. "I just wanted to tell you one thing. The moment I jumped to protect you, that was real. It wasn't an act." I watched him in silence. "For the past 5 years," he continued, his voice hoarse, "I've been living a lie. I approached you because of Mr. Caldwell's plan for the money. But then, I started to have real feelings for you. Your sweetness, your kindness, it moved my heart. But I was in too deep. I couldn't turn back. I wanted you, and I also wanted the money and status. Greed clouded my judgment." He looked up, tears welling. "Today, when you were in danger, I realized the only thing I wanted to protect was you. But it's too late for everything." I listened, devoid of emotion. Love? Perhaps there was some, but the betrayal, the damage, had irrevocably killed it. "Save those words for the judge," I said, my voice expressionless. "Between us, everything is over." I turned and walked out, leaving him alone with his regret and his late tears. The moment that first aid room door closed, the door to my 5 years of marriage closed officially, forever. A week after the stormy wedding, things slowly began to calm. But the aftermath was enormous. The Aurelian Holdings case became a scandal that shook the business world. Mr. Caldwell, Sophia, and several other executives were arrested, investigated for fraud, embezzlement, industrial espionage. Despite his act of saving me, Ethan couldn't escape his involvement. As a key part of the plan, he was summoned to testify, facing inevitable justice. I filed for divorce. It went quickly, without dispute. We sold our house, our only valuable shared asset. I wanted nothing that reminded me of a past filled with lies. After everything settled, I needed time for myself. I decided to travel alone, somewhere far away, to clear my head and start a new life. I chose Napa Valley, California, a quiet place to heal. I didn't sightsee much. I just walked trails, sat in charming cafes, wrote. After so many storms, I realized I needed peace. One cool afternoon, sketching ideas for a new company project in a rustic cafe overlooking a vineyard, a familiar voice startled me. Well, small world. I looked up. It was the police officer who'd handled a minor car accident for me a year ago. He wasn't in uniform, but a khaki jacket and jeans, looking much younger, more approachable. The Napa breeze ruffled his thick, dark hair. Hi, I smiled, hiding my surprise. What a coincidence. Are you on vacation? You could say that, he replied, a gentle smile revealing a slight dimple. I got transferred here a few weeks ago. You could say I'm starting a new life. He glanced at my notebook. You were working. Sorry to interrupt. No, I was just finishing up, I said quickly, closing it. He hesitated. Would you mind if I sit here? The cafe is crowded, and this is the only free spot. I looked around. It was packed. Yes, of course. Please sit. He pulled up a chair, ordering a hot latte. An awkward silence. At the wedding that day, he finally broke it. I saw everything. You were very brave. His words surprised me. I thought he'd only been there for the arrests. Thank you. Fortunately, it's all over now. I'm David. He introduced himself suddenly. Chloe, I replied. Nice to meet you, David. We started talking. At first, it was light, Napa, work, hobbies. But it deepened. David told me he'd felt burned out by New York stress, wanting a quieter life, loving the mountains and fresh air. I shared my story, not the painful details, but my decision to leave the city, my desire for a new balance. We realized we were both seeking new beginnings. David was engaging, intelligent, funny, but with a quiet depth, like someone who'd lived a lot. Talking to him felt incredibly comfortable, a feeling I hadn't known in ages. The sky darkened, yellow cafe lights came on, creating a romantic atmosphere. It's getting late, David said, checking his watch. I have to get back to the station. It was a pleasure, Chloe. You too, I smiled. Oh, this weekend. He hesitated again. I'm planning a hike in the hills. If you're not busy, would you like to come? His invitation made my heart skip. Hiking? I've never really done it. All the more reason you should try, he smiled. The air up there is incredible. Helps release all the stress. I thought for a moment, then nodded. Yes, I'd love to. After that chance encounter, David and I had our first date. We hiked in the mountains, walked through vast pine forests, found small, hidden restaurants in St. Helena. With David, I no longer had to be strong, to distrust everyone. He gave me a strange sense of security, of peace. He didn't ask about my past, didn't make me relive painful memories. He just stayed by my side, in silence, sharing small joys. Our feelings grew naturally, gently, like the morning mist in Napa. One evening, by Lake Berryessa, watching the moonlit water, David took my hand. Chloe, his voice was deep, warm. I know you've been through a lot. I don't want to stir up old wounds. I just want to say that if you'll let me, I'd like to be the person who writes a new chapter of your life with you. A chapter full of joy and happiness. I looked into his sincere eyes, my heart swelling. Tears welled up again, but this time, they were tears of pure happiness. I just nodded, squeezing his warm hand tight. 2 years later. Mommy, hurry up. Daddy and Uncle Liam are waiting outside. My little daughter Ava's cheerful voice. I smiled, adjusted the bow in her hair. Mommy's coming, my princess. I looked in the mirror, seeing a woman radiant with happiness. Today was special, my first wedding anniversary with David, and the day the whole family was going to New York for the opening of a new Miller Corporation branch. My life had utterly transformed. After that fateful Napa trip, I found true love and happiness. David, after we'd dated a while, requested a transfer back to New York to be by my side. He said wherever I was his peace. We had a small, warm beach wedding, just loved ones. My brother Liam also found his own happiness, falling in love with a kind teacher, and they recently had a healthy baby boy. The Miller Corporation, under Liam's leadership and with my support, grew spectacularly, becoming a leading, respected company. As the car drove along the familiar highway, Ava chattered on my lap, pointing at everything. David, driving, turned sometimes to look at us, his eyes full of love. We passed a large prison. I fell silent. I knew people were paying for their mistakes inside. I'd heard Ethan would get a reduced sentence for good behavior. Sophia, I heard, had a mental breakdown and was in a psychiatric hospital. Mr. Caldwell, old and sick, finally broke behind bars. I no longer hated them. My heart was filled with peace. Hatred was behind me, love and forgiveness had taken its place. The opening party was a huge success. Amidst the bustle, I received a beautiful bouquet of white roses, no sender's name. Inside, a small card with shaky handwriting, typical of an elderly person. Congratulations. May you be very happy. I knew who it was from. Someone somewhere was watching me, sincerely wishing me the best. That night, after the party, Ava asleep, David and I stood on our hotel balcony, looking at New York's bright lights. He hugged me from behind, resting his chin on my shoulder. Thank you, he whispered, for coming into my life, for making my days meaningful. I smiled, turned, and rested my head on his firm chest. I should be more grateful. Thank you for healing all the wounds within me. We hugged in silence, savoring the present happiness. Life truly is like a long journey, full of unpredictable forks. There were times I thought I'd fallen into despair's abyss. But it was in the darkest place that I found my light, a new beginning, a new happiness. Everything was here in my arms. After the New York trip, we returned to our quiet routine. Our small house filled with Ava's laughter, the warmth of family. Liam often visited on weekends with his wife and son. Seeing Ava and my nephew play, my heart felt completely healed. The past seemed distant, just an old story. The anonymous white roses, the card from the opening, I dismissed as a late apology from some relative of Ethan's. I didn't want to think about it. I put the card in a drawer, locking it as if closing that old chapter. But life is rarely as calm as a lake. The first ripples began subtly, so subtly I thought it was just my own hypersensitivity. Sometimes, driving, I felt a familiar black sedan following me, but it always vanished in traffic. Once, playing with Ava in the park, I felt a fixed gaze from a distant bench, a middle-aged woman, elegantly dressed, a wide-brimmed hat and sunglasses hiding her face. When I looked again, she turned, hurrying away. When I told David, he just laughed and hugged me. "You're overthinking. You're a successful, beautiful executive now. It's normal for an admirer to look at you." But I knew he said it to reassure me. His police instincts were silently on alert. "I'll check the security cameras around the house," he added. "It never hurts to be cautious." That incident faded. Until Ava's second birthday. It was an intimate party at home, just Liam's family, us, a few close friends. While everyone sang happy birthday, the doorbell rang. David opened it, returning with a beautifully wrapped gift box, his expression a little strange. "It's from a courier service," he said. "A gift for Ava, but no sender's name." We were all surprised. I took the box, a vague unease washing over me. It was wrapped in high-quality paper, tied with an elaborate pink silk ribbon. Clearly, the sender had taken great care. "Could it be from some business partner who appreciates you?" Liam guessed. I thought so too. I opened the box carefully. Inside, on a soft velvet lining, was a small, exquisitely crafted white gold bracelet. The charm was a finely carved lotus flower with a tiny diamond in the center, sparkling. It was valuable, but what made me freeze wasn't its worth, but the small card inside. The handwriting was soft, elegant, and very familiar. I opened the card with trembling hands. A single, short line, "Happy birthday to our little one." From her grandmother. Asterisk our little one. From her grandmother. Asterisk the word grandmother hit me like a lightning bolt. Who? My mother had passed away. David's mother lived in the countryside and didn't write like this. And certainly not my trembling ex-mother-in-law. I picked up the card, comparing it to the handwriting on the white roses card I received at the opening. Identical. It was the same person. Someone who called herself my daughter's grandmother. "Chloe, what's wrong?" "You're as pale as a sheet," David said, shaking my shoulder. I didn't answer. I just showed him the card. David read it, his handsome brows furrowing. He picked up the bracelet, examining it carefully. "This is very strange," he said. "Who is this person? How does she know Ava's birthday and send such an expensive gift?" I collapsed into a chair, my mind a mess. Scattered images flashed, the black sedan, the mysterious woman in the park, the anonymous white roses, and now this. This wasn't a coincidence. Someone, a woman, was silently watching my life, my daughter's. She knew a lot about us, was very rich, and called herself Ava's grandmother. But how? My mother had died years ago in a terrible car accident. I'd seen her funeral photos, held her burial with Liam. There could be no mistake. So who is this woman? A distant relative I didn't know? Or a much more terrible secret? I looked at Ava, still laughing, innocent, completely unaware of the storm brewing around her. A lump rose in my throat. I would not let anyone harm my daughter. I had to find the truth. Whoever that mysterious woman was, whatever her purpose, I had to find her. The quiet life I'd fought so hard for seemed to be facing a new storm, blowing from a past I thought I knew so well. The mysterious birthday gift shattered the festive atmosphere. After guests left, only Liam's family remained. "This is not a simple matter," Liam said, examining the bracelet, his face as serious as mine. "A custom-made baby bracelet like this, white gold with a diamond, must cost tens of thousands. This person is no ordinary individual." My sister-in-law, a wise, delicate woman, offered, "Couldn't it be someone from your ex-husband's family, Chloe? Maybe trying to get close to the child." "Impossible." I shook my head firmly. "They have no reason to. And this handwriting isn't theirs." David remained silent, deep in thought. Finally, he spoke with the seriousness of a police officer. "First, we trace the origin of this gift. I'll take the box and wrapping to the crime lab, we might find fingerprints or other clues. And I'll review all security cameras on the streets near our house today to track the courier's vehicle." Liam nodded. Right, I'll use my contacts to ask major jewelers if anyone recognizes this unique lotus design. It's likely a custom order. Our conversation reached a dead end. No hypothesis could fully explain this, grandmother. That night, I couldn't sleep, clutching Ava, watching her sleep. An invisible fear enveloped me. Who is this woman? What did she want with my daughter? Did she have bad intentions? The following days were consumed by anxiety. David and Liam did everything, but all leads hit a wall. The courier service was small, the sender paid cash, used a fake name. Cameras showed only an ordinary delivery person. No jeweler recognized the design. The mysterious woman had calculated everything, leaving no trace. Seeing the investigation stall, I grew even more anxious. I couldn't just wait. I had to find answers myself. I decided to start with my past, with what I knew about my mother. I took a few days off, left Ava with my mother-in-law, and returned alone to my parents' old house, the town where Liam and I grew up. I hadn't been back in ages. The house was dusty, but every corner evoked warm memories of my mother. I started cleaning the attic, where my mother kept old items, family keepsakes. I hoped to find, among those seemingly insignificant objects, a clue about the mysterious woman, a secret my mother had never told us. I flipped through old photo albums, black and white, faded colors, my mother beautiful and radiant, my parents happy on their wedding day, Liam and me as children. I looked again and again, but saw no luxurious, unfamiliar woman. Just as I was about to give up, my hand brushed against a small wooden box, hidden at the bottom of an old trunk. It was locked with a rusty padlock. After struggling, I opened it. Inside, no jewels or money, but a stack of yellowed letters, tied with a purple ribbon. I picked them up, trembling. The handwriting wasn't my mother's or father's. It was soft, elegant, identical to the one on Ava's birthday card. My heart stopped. I quickly opened the first letter. My dearest sister Catherine, a year has passed since that fateful day. I still can't forget how you saved me from that car about to explode. I don't know how I can ever repay you for this favor. I'm sending you a small gift. Please accept it. I know you'll refuse, but please don't. Consider it a small token for me for the 2 children you have at home. I must leave now. I can't stay in this place that has taken everything from me. Perhaps one day, when everything calms down, we will meet again. With all my love, Adrian. I reread it several times, my mind reeling. Sister Catherine, that was my mother. A car accident? A savior? My mother had never told us this story. And Adrian? Who is she? Why write to my mother? I quickly read the others. Letters from abroad, France, Switzerland. Adrian wrote about her new life, her loneliness, the torment of leaving home. She always asked about Liam and me, always sent expensive gifts, gifts my mother probably never told us about. The last letter was dated 5 years ago, the handwriting a bit shakier. Sister Catherine, I believe my time is short. This illness has tormented me for too long. My only regret is that I never came back to take care of my 2 children. I know I don't deserve to. I abandoned them. But please, sister, love them for me. Tell them that wherever I am, their mother will always be watching over them and loving them. I am sending you this key. It is the key to a personal safe deposit box in a Swiss bank. Inside is all the fortune I have amassed. Please give it to my children when they are older. Consider it the final compensation from a sinful mother. Goodbye, my sister, my friend, and my savior, Adrian. The letter fell from my hands. My whole body shook. Asterisk children. Mother, asterisk the whole, incredible truth was slowly revealing itself. This woman, Adrian, she was. No, it couldn't be. My mother was Catherine Miller, and she was dead. There had to be a mistake. But this stack of letters, this key, that familiar handwriting. I sat there, stunned, in the dusty attic. My mind filled with confusion. The past I knew, the identity I believed in, everything suddenly felt blurry, strange. A huge family secret, buried for over 20 years, was about to be unearthed, and it was directly related to me. That night, sleep was impossible. Adrian's letters and the small key lay silently on the desk, but my mind was a whirlwind. Her mother, 2 children, those phrases repeated, stabbing deep into my heart. I tried to dismiss the crazy idea that Liam and I weren't the biological children of the woman we called Mom. But everything fit. The handwriting. The expensive gifts. The term grandmother for Ava. The next morning, I couldn't wait. I had to find Liam. He had to know too. He was my brother, my only family. He had a right to the truth about our roots. I drove back to the city in a frenzy, going straight to his office. Seeing my haggard look, his eyes sunken, he questioned me, concerned. I said nothing, just closed his door, placed the letters and key on his desk. Read it, I said, my voice hoarse. Liam, surprised, picked up the first letter. As he read, his expression morphed from surprise to astonishment, then pure shock. He read every letter, his hand trembling. When he finished the last one, he collapsed into his chair, staring into space. No, it can't be, he muttered, shaking his head. Our mother is Catherine. Who is this Adrian? I thought so, too, I said bitterly. But brother, look at this handwriting. I showed him the photo of Ava's card on my phone. Liam stared at both. The last shred of doubt vanished from his eyes. He covered his face, his broad shoulders shaking. For the first time in my life, I saw my always strong, steady brother so fragile, so helpless. We sat in silence for a long time, lost in our own confused thoughts. The past we knew, the mother we loved, had become a huge question mark. So, Mom? Catherine, Liam lifted his head, his voice strained. Wasn't our biological mother? She raised us. She loved us. Why did she hide this? I don't know, I shook my head, but I think she had her reasons. Mom Adrian said she had to leave, couldn't stay. Something terrible must have happened. A car accident. That clue returned. Mom Adrian said Mom Catherine saved her. Yes, the secret must be in that car accident. Liam looked me straight in the eye. We have to find out the truth. Not just for us, but for both our mothers. He nodded, his gaze hardening. You're right. We have to find out what exactly happened 25 years ago. Our investigation began with those vague clues, the car accident, the date, the name Adrian. Thanks to Liam's social standing and David's police contacts, reopening the old, dusty case files wasn't too difficult. A few days later, we had the accident report. It was a terrible crash in the Rocky Mountains. A luxury car lost control, plunging off a cliff, exploding. According to the report, 4 people were in the car, the CEO of the Rivas Jewelers Group and his wife, and the driver and his wife. All 4 were concluded dead. Rivas Jewelers. That name stunned Liam and me. It was an empire that once dominated the American jewelry industry, but mysteriously collapsed after its CEO's death. Wait a minute, Liam said. Rivas. I remember. Our father worked at Rivas before founding Miller Corporation. He was the CFO there. Another coincidence. Everything seemed connected. But the report says all 4 died, I puzzled. So who is Mom Adrian? And why did she say Mom Catherine saved her? That's the key, David interjected, who was with us. He pointed to a part of the autopsy report. Of the 4 bodies found, one was so badly burned it was unrecognizable. Based on some bone fragments, they could only confirm it was a woman. And people assumed it was the wife of the Rivas CEO, Mrs. Adrian. That means, I held my breath, that it's very likely that woman was not Mrs. Adrian, David concluded. Mrs. Adrian survived the accident, and it's possible that the person who saved her was your mother, Catherine. But for some reason, she chose to become a dead person in everyone's eyes and live another life abroad. But why? I asked. Why would a woman with status, money, everything, abandon it all, even her 2 children? This accident, Liam mused, his voice dark, was it really an accident or was it murder? My brother's question silenced the room. If it was murder, who was the mastermind? And why did Mom Adrian have to flee? At that moment, David's phone rang. An old colleague from New York. He stepped out, returning with a very serious expression. New information, he said. I asked them to check the list of top executives at Rivas Jewelers from that time. Guess who was appointed acting CEO right after the death of CEO Rivas and his wife? Who? Liam and I asked in unison. It was him. David's voice was firm. The CEO of Aurelian Holdings, Mr. Caldwell. That name, again. Our family's old enemy, the man who drove our father to his death. A wave of nausea and anger rose in my throat. This can't be a coincidence. Liam slammed the table. Caldwell, our father, Rivas Jewelers, and that car accident. There has to be a connection. A dark and terrible picture was beginning to take shape. A conspiracy hidden for 25 years. A crime that not only claimed several lives, but also shattered a family. And now, by chance, we were getting closer to the heart of that secret. The search for our roots had unexpectedly turned into the pursuit of the truth behind a serial murder case. And the most likely suspect? Our family's arch-nemesis. Mr. Caldwell's name was like a key, unlocking a dark door to the terrible secrets of the past. All the events now converged into a terrifying hypothesis. Caldwell hadn't just driven our father to his death to take over Miller Corporation. It was very likely that 25 years earlier, he orchestrated that horrific car accident to devour the entire Rivas Jewelers Group. If that's true, Liam gritted his teeth. He's not human. He's a demon. But all of this is just conjecture for now, David said, trying to maintain his professional calm. We don't have concrete evidence to charge him. The case is too old, and almost all traces have likely been erased. And Mom Adrian, I intervened. If she's alive, she's the most important witness. She'll know exactly what happened. But why did she flee? Why didn't she come forward? She was probably scared, Liam replied. The enemy was too powerful. She had to worry not only about herself, but about her 2 children. Perhaps becoming a dead person was the only way to protect us. A lump formed in my throat. My biological mother's departure wasn't abandonment, but a silent sacrifice. She gave up everything for her children's safety, living in loneliness and torment abroad. And our mother, Catherine, who raised us, was also part of that sacrifice. She lived her whole life with that secret locked in her heart. What do we do now? I asked, looking between David and Liam. Go to Switzerland to find Mom Adrian, I suggested. No, David and Liam opposed, almost in unison. It's too dangerous, David explained. Mr. Caldwell is a cunning old fox. His information network is everywhere. If he finds out we're investigating, he won't hesitate to use any means to silence us, just like he did with your father. Besides, we're not sure Mom Adrian wants to see us. The last letter was 5 years ago. No one knows her situation now. David is right, Liam continued. What we need to do now is look for evidence here first. The safe deposit box key is the most important clue. It's very likely that the fortune Mom Adrian left not only contains money, but also something that can expose Mr. Caldwell's crimes. But that's a Swiss bank, I worried. Their bank secrecy laws are the strictest. Even with the key, I don't think I can just open it. Leave it to me, Liam said with determination. I have a lawyer friend specializing in international law. I'll ask him to find a solution. It might take time, but it's not impossible. While Liam handled Switzerland, David and I decided to tackle another angle, finding former witnesses from Rivas Jewelers during the accident. 25 years is a long time, but surely someone knew. People forced into silence by Caldwell's oppression, bribes, or threats. Our search was incredibly difficult. Many had moved, many had passed. Those who remained, at the mention of Rivas, Jewelers, and Mr. Caldwell, shook their heads in fear, refusing to talk. Caldwell's power cast a long, oppressive shadow. After days of desperate searching, we finally had a stroke of luck. We found Mr. Paul, the retired former chauffeur of the Rivas CEO's family. He was a frail old man, living alone in a small suburban house. He sat on his porch, looking into the distance with sad eyes. At first, he refused to talk, but when I showed him a photo of Mom Adrian and told him my identity, his old eyes welled with tears. Miss, are you Miss Chloe? He asked, trembling. When I nodded, he burst into tears. My God, you're alive. I thought the whole CEO's family. He invited us in. After calming down, he began to tell the story of 25 years ago, a nightmare he'd